Hello everyone, let us start our new lecture on the moderates and propaganda in the legislature. It is very important topic indeed from several perspectives. One is that when we are talking about nationalism and constitutional growth in India, how the miniature of parliament, or what today we know as parliament or legislature, how the very initial participation by the Indians, and especially the members of Indian National Congress, how they participated. And of course they were called moderates because even in the last lecture I was talking about some of the incident, and also the journey of Indian National Congress, and within the Indian National Congress, some of the facts and some of the stories of that how Bal Gangadhar Tilak particularly was very prominent leader who in a way was tried for his radical and fiery viewpoints against the British rule. Indeed, his radical writings in the press also brought a wrath of the British Raj by introducing Vernacular Press Act, and then we also discuss about that what sort of press freedom was there, and how Indian National Congress, as well as also the independent individual members, they kind of tackled all these hurdles and obstacles to popularize the movement and to kind of provide a leadership in terms of in terms of asking for greater rights as well as also freedom and autonomy. So let us start with this to understand that what all sort of propaganda were used in the legislature, and of course the moderate section from 1885 onwards we have been talking about, but let us also dedicate and know that who all were the members of the moderate section. And definitely, while when we'll be talking about extremist, then definitely we'll also understand vis-a-vis the moderates activity. So let us start with this segment. I am Parvez Alam. uh, I'm teaching political science at the Department of Political Science, Aligarh Muslim University. Yeah. So legislative council, was already introduced, in the 1861, Indian Council Act, where it was Imperial Legislative Council. We have been now acquainted with 1861 as well as 1892 Indian Councils Act, and and we have seen that how the very discretionary power, the very uh, you know the veto power rather of the Secretary of State in a way resulted into uh, you know sort of vetoing and many of the bills, where in 1892, of course, some sort of relaxations were given to the Indians to at least make speeches in the council, and also asking questions, right, which they did. And they can ask question on the budget as well, but there may not be counter question if the member of the council from the government side has responded to the questions. So so in the legislative council there was a limited official power. Legislative councils lacked a real official power until 1920, because ultimately the entire machinery of the government, in fact, was appointed by the Parliament of Britain. And if if we see Indian Councils Act of 1861, that enlarged the Governor General's Executive Council. The numbers got increased from 6 to 16 and further on. Because of the lack of power, they could not discuss the budget or key bills, again without prior government approval. That resembled a kind of authoritarianism, which was controlled from home, which means from England. Now, if you see, then what basically the members in the legislative councils they were doing, they were added to represent Indian views, but in practice they did not serve this purpose effectively. Uh, you know, Considering the fact that many of the zamindars, ruling classes, retired officials, who were part of the council, they were kind of collaborators of the council, and ultimately, the kind of honor they got from the British Raj is very much obvious, because they, in a way, helped uh, British officers during the revolt of 1857. So it was not really effective, but few Indian members who were nominated, who came from the upper class, they in fact had their own vested interest. And there are many stories, like one of the story of Raja Digvijay Singh, you know which in a way highlights the lack of meaningful participation by Indian members. Now, if we see voting record of Indian nominees, there was poor representation. Of course, Indian members often did not represent nationalist opinions frequently, supporting official policies. One of the example could be the instances where Indian members voted against nationalist demands, such as on the vernacular press bill and the Bengal tenancy bill. These were the two, draconian bills I have been repeatedly saying, because vernacular press bill, in fact, allowed the police to seize the printing press, and in fact stopping all sort of journalism. And in nationalist members, in fact, they you know they wanted to basically repeal the bill, and ultimately the bill was repealed. But the members who were representing Indians were in fact not in favor of repealing. So that kind of double standard of our own Indian people can be very much visible in the council. Also, there was, demands from the nationalists, especially post 1885 till 1892. They were demanding for councils, reforms. Early nationalistic, people, they cautiously sought the expansion and reform of legislative council. They emphasized wider participation and also more elected Indian members and increased power for councils. If we see uh, Indian Councils Act of 1892, there was limited changes. In fact, dissatisfaction persisted. uh, within the council. So, because of the mounting pressure, in the Indian Councils Act of 1892, changes were introduced where the act increased additional members, allowed limited indirect elections, and granted budget discussion rights. As I said, that budget discussion again was very limited to ask question but no further question. And in a way, nationalists they found the changes insufficient, and the councils in a way remained important. If again we see, there was evolving demands because of the dissatisfaction with the act of 1892. Now nationalists demanded majority for non-official elected members with voting rights on the budget. So means that Indian members should have a kind of voting rights so that they can defeat the budget. Slogans were raised that no taxation without representation. Similar kind of, if we see the slogans was raised in United States, against the colonial powers of 13 colonies. They united together to basically demand for greater representation again, within the legislature, where the colonial masters were ultimately controlling, and those 13 colonies, they uh, found established a confederation, and ultimately from 13 colonies, that what today we see 50 states of United States of America. It started with raising of the slogan "No taxation without representation." Also, there was gradual escalation. As yesterday, or rather in the last lecture, I was talking about particularly the role of Dadabhai Nauroji, that how Dadabhai Nauroji took up the cause of economic critique of colonialism, where the theory called drain theory, in fact, justified the nationalist demands to remove the British rule from the face of India, and also the activities by Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, popularly called Lokmanya Tilak. They started actually demanding for greater rights, especially demand for self-government, or what we call it, Swaraj. If we see the legislative council, the transformation of legislative council, we get to know that British perspective, especially where Lord Dufferin and other British statesmen, they viewed legislative council as a means to incorporate vocal Indian leaders, considering them powerless. On the other hand, Indian leaders, they responded, that this particular council should be transformed into platforms to ventilate grievances, also criticizing government policies by raising fundamental economic issues. Those leaders who were of these views were Kali Charan Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee, and others. Uh, as well as, council in a way became a channel for nationalist propaganda uh, by undermining the political and moral influence of the British Indian government. And it was, in fact, the very council, in fact, became a battleground for ideas, and also battleground for showcasing the moral implication of the rule. Now, if we see the prominent nationalist leaders in councils, from 1893 to 1901, I mean, there were many leaders who are not even very popularly known in, history textbooks. I mean, one or two, leaders are, talked about, but starting from Surendranath Banerjee to Anand Mohan Bose, to Lal Mohan Ghosh, to Vyomesh Chandra Banerjee, Ras Bihari Ghosh, Ananda Chalu, C. Sankar Nair, Vijay Raghavacharya, Madan Mohan Malvi, of course, very popular, Ayodhya Nath, Vishambar Nath, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Firoz Shah Mehta, R.M. Sayani, Chiman Lal Sitalwad, N.G. Chandravarkar, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, G.M. Chitnavis. Uh, all these leaders, they were the stalwarts. They actually served as members, from 1893 to 1909, almost like, uh, you know, 16, roughly 16 to 17 years of duration, where uh, their service, in a way contributed significantly to democratize the provincial or legislative council. Now, if we see, especially the exemplary, leadership of Firoz Shah Mehta, uh, you know, Firoz Shah Mehta, in a way, if you see his skill, he was, in a way, influenced by Dada Bhai Nauroji, and in fact, gradually became a dominant figure in the Indian National Congress. Now, why it is called forensic skill? Because Mehta was a very good orator, and and his oratory skill, because of his boldness, because of his incisiveness, wit and literary quality, uh, you know marked a certain kind of presence felt by the British rule. And and Mehta, in a way, showcased his kind of personality, by putting his talent and capability in the service of the national movement. And because of the Mehta's intervention, that changed the role and character of colonial legislature. And in fact, he was appreciated because of his activity. Now, Mehta particularly criticized the Police Act amendment, where also higher education policies, excise policy, and defended the peasants' rights to own land. Mehta's criticism, in fact, had a very great impact on bureaucracy, especially his speech on higher education, which actually shook the bureaucratic establishment, causing resentment, because the higher education, bereft of all sort of morality, bureaucrats sitting at the top are morally corrupt. Something sort of this, that what Mehta's words echoed, and that actually had a repercussion in terms of resentment from the bureaucracy. Also, Indians, they approved, Mehta's logic and critique. In fact, they, considered his voice as voice for the people and an essential change in colonial legislature. Uh, there was a tribune of Lahore, which described Mehta's entry into the council as the voice of the people, admitted through the open door of election. In terms of public interest, Mehta's speeches garnered widespread public interest, challenging the traditional role of colonial legislature. If we see also another very great personality called Gopal Krishna Gokhale, like Firoz Shah Mehta, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, again, uh, was public intellectual, but his logics were very sound, and he spoke very softly, but with a lot of data and facts and knowledge. Gokhale was trained by Justice Ranade and G.V. Joshi. Uh, he was outstanding intellectual, and like Tilak and Dadabhai Nauroji, they were very fiery in his speeches. Gopal Krishna Gokhale, was in fact known for his speaking style, because he was gentle, reasonable, and non-flamboyant, because he relied heavily on detailed knowledge and careful data. Now, if we see the transformative budget speech of Gokhale particularly, what we come to know that Gokhale's budget speeches, uh, starting in 1902, gained fame for their intellectual power, transforming legislative councils into platforms of political education. So, whatever is happening inside the council was in fact written, in the press, in the newspaper, and Gokhale, became very popular. Now, what was the criticism, especially of the budget, in the budget speech, the very content? Gokhale's criticism was of a surplus budget in times of depression and suffering, which ultimately had an electrifying effect. Uh, Gokhale, raised the questions by analyzing land revenue, salt tax, and military expenditures. Gokhale called for tax reduction, increased education and industry spending. Because of this speech, Gokhale, was received with widespread acclaim, raising Indian pride and setting a precedent for open criticism of government financial statements. Now, uh, further, Gokhale has been contributing for one decade from 1902, speech to later on. In every annual budget, Gokhale continued to influence, budgets and legislations, by focusing on issues such as peasant misery, wealth drain, industrial neglect, poor taxation, and civil liberties. His sharp critiques, in fact, unnerved officials, causing impotent fury and attempts to prepare for Gokhale's anticipated attacks on the revenue system. For this, Gokhale was recognized and earned title like leader of the opposition. The recognition from his people and praise from political figures like Gandhi and Tilak. So Gokhale, in fact, became the guru of Gandhi as well as of various other leaders who followed Gokhale's footstep in influencing the legislation by within the legislative council. Now, if we see that Gokhale's legacy, particularly Gokhale became a political guru. In fact, Gandhi declared Gokhale his political guru uh, by recognizing his impact on Indian politics. You know, in fact, Tilak, who was coming from a very different ideological framework, who was a lifelong opponent of Gokhale, praised Gokhale at his funeral as the diamond of India, the jewel of Maharashtra, the prince of workers. So Gokhale earned from all the quarters, from the moderate to the extremist, the the veneration, the honor, where the stalwarts like Gandhi, Tilak, and many others referred Gokhale as someone who has been a principled leader and also intellectual who need to be emulated by future Indians who are going to be part of the Indian national movement. So with this, what we have learned in this lecture, this segment is that it was the uh, moderates who took up the cause of national movement by not only raising important issues but also critiquing in a fashion by providing intellectual input and data to the public so that people should be oriented towards national movement, and for that the contribution made by Dada Bhai Nauroji, Firoz Shah Mehta, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, and others cannot be forgotten. And all these personalities have shaped the Indian national movement in a beginning years is one of the remarkable moment in the history of freedom struggle. I stop here and we will see in the next segment, next lecture on the very important event which happened within the time of the moderates, how the events unfolded which were ultimately for the uh, you know for in fact re-energizing the domestic industry and also building up the Indian economy. And for that there was the movement called Swadeshi movement. So we will see in the next lecture. Thank you so much.